Welcome to Self-Touch Meditation, the foundation. With this breathwork, we're setting up a foundation in our body which helps us to tune into subtle sensations. Our bodies are overstimulated by external factors, so we've desensitized to the finer, softer internal movements of energy in our systems. Often people report not feeling much when they first start this practice, but even just a tingle or some warmth is the start of raising awareness in our body and of our pleasure. Our head might get involved and say, I can't feel anything, this is useless, I'm not doing it right, but stick to it and allow it to change. The first time we try anything, we're not an expert, it takes practice. For this foundation, we're going to be covering straw breath and making sound to connect our heart to our sex. Straw breath is where we purse our lips together, as if we're breathing through a straw. Okay, you can try that with me, pursing lips. And then just relaxing the jaw on the out breath. And I'll cover more of this as we go along. At the end of the meditation, we then have some integration time, which is just a few moments of silence for you to lay and to be still and to feel into the body and to see what is echoing there from the previous experience. Then I always encourage some journaling. For some people, journaling is easy. For other people, they don't know what to write. So I will be encouraging you with some questions at the end. So you might want to pause now, get a blanket and a cushion for your integration time, and a pen and a journal for after that. Make sure that you have privacy so that you can make some noise with your breath. And you don't need to be naked for this, but if you'd prefer skin contact, then remove clothing as desired, but it's important that you're comfortable and warm. Throughout, I'll be using the word sex to refer to your genitalia. I'll say things like, take your hand to your sex, for example, and we'll be stroking up from sex to our heart space in a straight line across your genitals up to your heart. So first of all, make yourself comfortable. I suggest laying either on a bed or on the floor. For me, it works well to bend my knees. Let's get started. Laying on your back, feeling the weight of your body as you allow it to surrender to the ground beneath you. Just notice where the breath lands in your body. No need to change anything. We're just noticing, where does the breath go in our body? Taking your hands onto your body, somewhere that feels authentic for you. Maybe the belly, maybe the hips or the chest, or your sex. And allowing your belly to fill with the in-breath and empty with the out-breath. During this meditation, I'll be breathing along with you, but it's important you keep at your own pace while I talk, so don't wait for me to finish speaking. So expanding the belly on the in-breath and release on the out-breath. Keep breathing like that whilst I speak. Breathing in and release. Now opening the jaw, breathing through the mouth on the in-breath and releasing with an open jaw on the out-breath. Making some sound this time. Breathe in and release. A couple more like that with sound. Expanding the belly, and then out on the release. A few more. So breathing in, belly expanding, and out with sound. Keep breathing like that as I talk. The sound is where people often stumble. But here we're giving ourselves permission to express sound and to deepen our pleasure. A few more breaths. Maybe try some harder sound this time. One or two more. To really clear any blocks and tension we have around the throat and the jaw. Keep breathing with that breath and sound. The jaw can be seen as a mirror to our pelvis, so any tension or tightness we hold in our jaw can be reflecting similar in our pelvis, and tension in our pelvis isn't helpful to our sex. So keep breathing. Release that jaw. Release, release, release with sound. Keep breathing. Keep releasing. Now I encourage you to take a hand to heart and one hand to sex. Keep breathing. Keep releasing. Now we're going to use the straw breath technique. So pursing your lips as if sucking on a straw and pulling the breath in. Release the jaw. With sound on the out breath. Keep going with that. Breathing through the straw and and again. Filling the belly. Then release on the out breath. Through the straw. Release with breath and sound. Keep breathing like that as I talk over your breath. Noticing where your hands are on your body as you breathe. Taking your awareness to your heart space as you're breathing and noticing any sensations there with the breath. As the chest expands and the chest softens. Staying with that feeling in your chest to begin with. Keep breathing like that as I speak. Any sensations or even numbness are interesting to note. We're giving space and awareness to get to know our bodies. Taking your awareness down to your sex where your hand is resting. Tuning in, using the breath. To feel any sensations we may have in our sex. Keep breathing like that. Using the breath with the sound to deepen the experience of connection with our sex. As we breathe in, we can imagine that breath being pulled up from the sex to the heart. Keep going with that. Pulling in with the in-breath up to the heart. And release with the out-breath. Keep with that as I speak. This time on the out-breath, once we've pulled up to the heart, seeing if we can visualize that breath expanding through the chest and through the arms on the out-breath. So pulling up with the in-breath to heart and expanding out with the out-breath. Keep going with that. Pulling in, heart, and expanding out. Checking there's no tension in your body. Keep breathing. Check you're not holding in your jaw, that your back is nice and relaxed, that your buttocks are nice and relaxed, that your feet are softly on the floor. Hands and arms nice and relaxed. Pulling in, up from sex, to the heart on the in-breath, relaxing with sound, on the out-breath. Keep going with that breath as I speak, and allow any sensations that you feel just to be there, giving your body some patience and compassion to drop into this. This can be good for unblocking sensation, but if we have a numbness or some protection around feeling in our heart or our sex, which a lot of us do, most of us probably do, then this practice can take a while to get to grips with. Really relaxing on the out-breath now. Welcoming sensations, allowing the out-breath to really surrender you to the floor. On the out-breath, you can press your hands firmer onto your heart and firmer onto your sex. A reaffirming pressure to encourage greater physical sensation. Taking the hand from your heart to join the hand at your sex. And with one hand, we're going to stroke up the body to the heart as we breathe in. And then stroking down the arm on the out breath. You can change hands, stroking up to heart on the in, and then following that out breath, stroke through the chest and down the arm. Keep going with that. To heart and then out and down. And again. A reminder to really allow sound. We may have soft, subtle sound. Which people often find easier, but we can increase the experience in our bodies using this breath and sound. So maybe hardening the breath and hardening the sound. Doing that a few times and seeing how that changes the experience. Still stroking down the arm. Lengthening that in-breath. Lengthening the out-breath. One more, nice and hard. Now softening to see how that changes things. Two more of those. Keep stroking. Keep breathing, keep stroking. And without stopping, allowing that breath and that sound to soften a bit more and soften a bit more. So we spiral out of this experience. Feeling the sensations in the body and allowing those hands to come to stillness. Softening on the sex and on the heart. Just feeling anything that we feel going on in our body. It's so important to take this space and this time to just feel and to integrate. I'm going to give you some moments of silence now before I give you the next instruction. This is time for your body to learn from that practice. And now just softly allowing yourself to have a little bit of movement, maybe a wriggle of the hips or the fingers. Really softly have a stretch. It's nice to give ourselves this experience and this time to tune into our bodies as a meditation when we're often running around overloaded and in overwhelm and overstimulated. And again, when we first start this practice, we may experience nothing. We may experience numbness, or the mind chatter creeps in telling us we're bored or we're not doing it right. But the better we get at giving ourselves this time, the more we start to fully drop into the body. I encourage you now to grab yourselves a blanket to wrap yourselves in and maybe do some journaling for 5 minutes. Even just a couple of sentences on what you got from that experience. A question I like to ask is, what did you learn about yourself? I recommend you do this practice every day for a week. Put it in your diary, schedule it in, and see how it changes each time. Be soft with yourselves today. Don't rush back into the head. See you at the next practice. Namaste.